I'm Chris Lorenz, and this is Season 2, Episode 9, where we discuss WWE Legend House, Season 1, Episode 1. Sitting to my right is...
Brian Houston.
Sitting to my left.
Robert Kitts.
Sitting to his left.
Harrison Hoffman.
Sitting across from me...
Max Stroman.
So, this is not a good show.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one.
Oh, you think this is a bad show too?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But this is such a good bad. How can you hate the show?
This is definitely close to good bad, but it no.
Have we said what we watched?
Yeah,
You did say it.
Every time we introduce the podcast, I say what we watched.
Okay.
All right. Let me give the description of the show here. What do you get when 8 WWE legends live under one roof? Find out in Legends House.
Wow. What a description.
Spoilers, you get amazingness.
No.
Okay.
It is like oddly entertaining for what the hell they do in the show.
It's actually like, it's very watchable. I had a great time watching it. I mean,
I kind of want to watch more.
I kind of want to watch this next episode where they're going to go and play polo.
Polo WWE style.
Oh,
whatever
man.
that means.
I found myself very, very bored at many points, but there is like a certain charm to it. I've never watched a reality show of just like a bunch of old people hanging out in a house.
I think that that's actually the best part of the show, and like it's almost besides the fact that they're former WWE people. It's just I've never seen a real world with old people.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, right?
If you could cut out a lot of the WWE flashbacks and stuff, it would probably be better.
But it's like old people trying to figure out how to use a blender.
That
Like,
was the best part of the whole show.
old people wearing sunglasses
No.
inside all the time. Like
When the one challenge for the show, they have to go introduce themselves to their neighbors and bring them bundt cakes. I really like that part.
Nah, when he was doing trying to work the blender, it was great. All right, does anyone want to give a synopsis of what happened in this show? Like, I don't think you're qualified to do this.
So the thing we don't really know is like these are self-proclaimed WWE legends, but I don't know if any of us really know how well known these guys are in the WWE in the lore of the WWE.
when we were watching the intro sequence, I was just saying I haven't heard of any of these people, maybe except for like one person.
Roddy Piper, I've definitely heard of.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard a couple people.
But it's not like Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's not like the real.
Well, I mean, how many people are you gonna get to want to live in this house with a roommate and like?
So I guess that's part of this, and it's kind of part of what they didn't really explain in the lead up to this thing is kind of how long are they living in this house for? Like, what's going on with all this stuff?
They did say a couple weeks.
A couple of weeks.
That's what Ashley said.
Okay. So it was just kind of, so I guess they're just kind of putting their lives on hold for a couple of weeks to be on this reality show.
Look, these guys are retired. They're not doing anything.
No, I understand. Like, I'm just trying to get a sense of the time scale because like Real World is the same kind of premise, but they live in the place for like 6 months or something, right?
Really? It's that long?
No, it's like super long, I think.
I bet this is just like 3.5 weeks max. Like
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could film an episode of this thing in like a day. You know, maybe stretch it to 2.
But we know there was a couple days because of the whole cabbage roll situation.
Yeah, they haven't eaten the cabbage.
They
roll
spent
What
so
happened
much
to the cabbage roll? We don't even know.
out the window,
yet. You
dude.
gotta keep watching.
They spent so much time focusing on these very small little incidents. Like, okay, so at some point they're like, man, we're hungry. We haven't been eating all day in this show. Literally in every single scene, they're eating something.
Well, that one guy, what's his name?
I don't
Tony.
know.
Tony
Big
Atlas.
Tony, the other Big Tony.
Tony literally was eating in the first 5 scenes of the
So
show.
there's food around at all times. They're eating all the time, but then they're just like, it would be cool to cook dinner tonight. And then this old Irish guy who's on the show,
You mean Pat Patterson?
Pat Patterson, is that his real name or is that like his stage name?
Unclear.
That is his real name.
Okay.
What?
He says, hey, I know how to cook cabbage rolls. Maybe we should do that. So now they have this literal 15-minute segment of the show that's about them going to the grocery store to get the stuff for the cabbage rolls, bringing it home.
Like
Pat Patterson cooking the cabbage rolls.
We know he got 4 pounds of beef and 4 pounds of lamb.
Yeah, he's going over the
and
recipe.
The cabbages weren't big enough.
And then Jimmy Hart took a ride around the store in one of those scooters.
Yep.
And he says to a guy, "So you like to play with meat, huh?"
Yeah, to the butcher.
That guy hated his life in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Why do I have to serve these stupid WWE guys right now?
I can't believe he signed.
Yeah. Why'd I sign this release?
Insane.
This is not worth the $50 they paid me to sign this release.
So yeah, this is going. At some point, there's like some kind of tennis matches being played while he's cooking, and then they just kind of walk away from cooking this food, and they say, "Oh, we'll have it tomorrow," and then it's never mentioned again.
They show a guy eating a peanut butter croissant or something.
It was peanut butter on like an untoasted English muffin.
An English muffin.
Well-
and they're like, forget it.
They also showed Pat was cramping up.
Oh, yeah, he started
making
cramping
the
up.
cabbage rolls was too much.
That guy was working hard
He was working so
Why didn't
hard.
anyone help him?
because they're like dudes who just want to go outside and drink and watch those guys play tennis. Like they don't want help. I don't know.
But what happened to the cabbage rolls?
I feel
We
like
don't know.
they
This
ate
is-
it and the film was just boring or something and they didn't show it.
If you're gonna have a 15-minute segment about the preparation of a food item on the first episode of a reality show, you gotta pay it off.
Okay, but they also had a 5-minute segment on watching Roddy Piper figure out a blender.
Yeah, I'm not saying like
Which was a much better segment.
that's what
like-
makes the show amazing is that like yeah, there are these WWE people living in this house, but just focusing on this insane minutia of what they're
It
doing.
is the
Right.
most insanely focused on the dumbest segments I've ever seen.
It's probably because nothing's happened in that
Oh,
house
no,
because those guys aren't
absolutely
very
not.
exciting. It's like they're like, oh man, we really got to play up this blender thing. I think we can squeeze 5 to 7 minutes out of this whole blender thing.
I mean, it was a full minutes before he replugged in he actually plugged it in. I don't even think it was plugged in before.
No, I think it was plugged in. I think you unplugged it, tried to plug it into a different spot, and turned on the garbage disposal by mistake. And that was the
Okay.
noise that freaked him out. I think it was always plugged in. He just didn't know how to work it.
Okay.
And then the other guy just walks over and is like, you just do this. After watching him struggle for 5 minutes.
So
great.
I would like to ask the $100 question. This is by WWE. Is it scripted?
It's a great question.
It is a great question.
I think that Roddy Piper thing at the end of this episode was scripted.
I think that it's either scripted or he just decided that he wanted to do that. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's possible that he has trouble sleeping and he just took a walk and then
just
played it up.
howling at the moon. And,
Yeah.
I mean, he was definitely playing it up. I believe he had trouble sleeping.
Well,
I don't know.
It was kind of a callback to the thing that happened earlier in the episode when the special guest star of the episode rolled in.
Oh my god. One of the best moments of the episode.
So freaking crazy.
All right.
At every turn when we were watching this show, I just could not believe what was happening. It was Someone want to take us through it?
The show cuts to a gigantic gong. It is hit by some off-screen person. A couple people come to check it out.
Hold on. First, someone said, I'm not sure what that one guy was eating. What's his name?
Tony.
Sorry, Big Tony.
Tony Atlas.
Just imagine Tony Almeida.
Tony Almeida. Okay, he's like, yeah, I heard something going on outside, and I was like, was this the Dong Show? You didn't know what a gong was?
Who knows? So anyway, they run over to this gong. Who rang it? Gary Busey.
Gary Busey.
Oh,
Gary
man.
Busey, looking like he fits in with this whole situation. He's wearing sunglasses. Everyone's wearing sunglasses at all times in this show.
Constantly.
Yes.
Indoors, at night in the pitch black, doesn't matter.
Playing
Sunglasses are on.
tennis in the night.
And Gary Busey shows up with an insane look on his face wearing those sunglasses.
Well, he has an insane look on his face, a.k.a. he looks like Gary Busey does at all times.
Right.
Especially Gary Busey. And then every shot of Gary Busey is Gary Busey saying something ridiculous.
Yeah, or just screaming or something.
Well, like they even mentioned on the show, it's like there's two Gary Buseys. There was Gary Busey like trying to be wise counselor, philosopher man, and there's Gary Busey just saying absolutely insane things. But Gary Busey trying to give life advice was also pretty insane.
Yeah, like they brought Gary Busey in to be a life coach for these washed up professional wrestlers. Is such an amazing situation to create.
So Gary Busey has them meditate outside, and some of them take it seriously, and some of them are just making fun of it.
I really wanted them to do yoga. I really did.
When they laid out those mats, they were teeing it up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
What if
some
they
yoga.
made them do yoga and it just didn't work, and then they cut it?
But
That
would
could have
be-
been.
That would be good stuff, though.
Although there was one of the guys, like Gary Busey says, I'm sitting cross-legged. One of the guys like, I'm not used to sitting in these yoga poses. It's like, you're just sitting cross-legged. That's not a yoga pose.
Well, I mean, it is a yoga pose, but
It's also just sitting.
Just sitting.
just sit.
And then, did he do something else at the mats, or did they just go eat after the meditation?
No, it's like, let's meditate. All right, let's eat.
Oh, no,
not the cabbage rolls.
The other thing, he's like, if I get bored meditating, I just like to honk at geese. And then he just starts screaming
Honk.
into the sky, which is, I think, Roddy Piper might have been doing a callback to Gary Busey honking at the geese when he's howling at the moon.
There you go.
I might be giving him way too much credit here, but
Definitely not thinking about
That would be amazing.
maybe
He knows-
maybe the WWE script writers are like, oh yeah, you got to howl at the moon just like Gary Busey was earlier. Yeah.
Gary Busey's making that guy's life better.
Or maybe they 80 it in later.
Oh, it could have been. We didn't see Roddy Piper actually howl, did we? We just saw the moon.
It was
No.
like his back. Like
Yeah.
the back.
Maybe it was Gary Busey howling. Gary, we need
They
some
just
ADR.
repurposed the audio.
He's still lurking around in the backyard.
Gary Busey's a producer on the show. I don't think that's true, but that'd be amazing.
Oh, we forgot about the best character on the show, Ashley.
We didn't mention Ashley.
I think we. There's also one more piece of the Gary Busey life advice where, like, he talks to everybody. He's like, "Do all of you have anger problems?" And then Roddy Piper, the intelligent man that he is like, "Yeah, so we're always approached by people in the streets, and they're expecting us to be this character. We become this character." And Gary Busey tried to compare it to like his role in Lethal Weapon. Like, yeah, you just got to turn it off. And then Roddy Piper said something else, and Gary Busey's like, "No, I don't have to worry about that. You have to worry about that."
It's basically like Gary Busey not being able to relate to someone who's only known for one character because he's
Right.
known for all these different things. So the guy's like, so what would you do if you were just only known for one character? He's like, I don't fucking know. It's your problem. Like,
Well, he was like, yeah, well, I think he's like a method actor. He's like, once you walk away from that set, you're just not that person anymore. And like, these guys were like, well, I walked away from that like every night, but I was like, people always expect you to be the same person. They play that person for like over 10 years, most of those people. Except for the two referees on the show, which I'm not really sure why they're considered legends.
were both of them referees or was one of them an announcer?
One of them was definitely a famous announcer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were both announcers.
And
And then there's the two announcers
then
and the
there's Pat.
promoter guy.
well,
Well, the promoter
Pat's
guy's
also like
The manager?
not a real wrestler, is he?
No,
Pat's a ref.
Pat's done everything.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought Pat had been a wrestler, he'd been a ref, he'd been a broadcaster.
really?
I thought he'd
Gotcha.
done a million
So,
different things.
But when they were showing the clip of the first WrestleMania, Pat was a ref.
Oh yeah,
in that
Pat's
fight.
a ref in that fight
Yeah.
for sure. But I thought there were other clips of him actually
Oh
wrestling.
yeah, that could
Maybe.
be
Yeah, Pat was all three, I think.
Multi-talented.
triple threat
I also like the way Gary Busey just brought up Lethal Weapon. He was like, so I was in this movie one time
with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover.
It was called Lethal Weapon.
Perhaps you heard of it.
The first one.
Oh my gosh.
So Max, tell us about this Ashley.
There's nothing to say there.
So at one point when the all the guys show up one by one and they're on the house, and then they have this woman walks up and she's like, "Hi guys," and she has the cake to introduce this cake challenge. She's like, "I'm Ashley," and then that's her whole clip in the show. Then she's gone.
Yep.
And she's on all of the papers, like all the like photos of the show online.
Like posters.
all the photos. I haven't seen any posters.
I think it's really weird that they didn't give her a last name like during the
Right.
intro sequence, it's just everyone's like names, and then it's just and Ashley. Like there's she doesn't have a last name.
So I had a flashback to when we watched the Epic Mealtime show, whatever that was called.
100%.
And they had that random woman who was like just to be there to be like, "You crazy guys, what are you doing?"
For sure.
But she wasn't in
Yep.
the show like at all. She said
Yeah.
like nothing.
I wonder if Ashley has a bigger role in future episodes or not.
We'll
she
just
is-
have to find out.
I think that Gary Busey should have been the host. I think that would have been so much better.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So-
Brian, what you got?
So she is in all 10 episodes. But based on how long she was in this episode, I imagine she's just going to be making appearances with cake each time.
So she's gonna come and set up some kind of a challenge or an activity.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So she's actually known for something else. Does anyone want to guess what she's known for?
The challenge.
No.
That would be insane.
Harrison would have known.
The Miss Universe pageant.
Good guess. She was a member of the Pussycat Dolls,
Wow.
the band.
Okay.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
Real
Yeah.
fall from grace.
Yeah, so on her IMDb, it's like in 2010, she tried to strike out on her own. And by 2014, she's on this show.
Oh.
So
What about 2017?
the show
see what Sir
was
IMDb
produced
shows.
in 2012 but didn't air until 2014.
Wow.
Oh, that's right.
Hold on. So they shot this reality show and then put it in like on the shelf for 2 years before they released it.
So let me quote from
I think it was
IMDb.
like go ahead.
Produced in February 2012, did not air until April 2014 due to delays in the premiere of the WWE Network.
Oh.
I don't know, but Google says the show is on Sci-Fi. So I don't
Which-
know.
Maybe there are reruns on
maybe
Sci-Fi.
Why would Sci-Fi have this wrestling show on?
They used to have wrestling before they rebranded.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So is this when it was like SCI
Yeah, yeah.
instead of SYFY, whatever?
To my knowledge.
Okay.
They maybe even had wrestling after the rebrands, but yeah.
the copyrightable name. Yeah.
Man.
Can we talk about how boring the beginning of the show was? As people
So
just like
bad.
kinda,
When they were
like,
filtering
rolled
in, it was not great.
Well, I feel like that's there if you actually know who these people are. But like, yeah, it was definitely a way too long of like, here's someone you don't know from
I mean,
the 80s.
It was a little bit helpful for me because I didn't know any of the people, I guess, to see who they were, but
Well,
I don't know.
that reminds me of something you said earlier where you're like, they don't have Stone Cold Steve Austin here.
Right.
Do you think this is like a generational thing that like if you were a big wrestling fan in like 1982, you'd be like, oh my gosh, it's all the guys.
That could be.
And then when they do Legend House 2 in 2026 and it's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
and The Rock. And
Well, The Rock is the Hulk Hogan of the situation who's clearly too big for all his
Hulk's
stuff.
not going to be in this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Hulk Hogan had a falling out with WWE. So
yeah.
well, he might be in
Um,
this. What else? He's not doing anything.
Yeah, he's just rolling in that cash from that lawsuit.
Yeah.
That Gawker lawsuit.
That's about it. He's just loving putting
Making that
Gawker out of
money.
business. Yeah.
So I want to just quickly go through a couple other things from the IMDb trivia. So it says there's 4 different wrestlers who were announced they would be on the show and they're just not in the show.
Okay.
A second season was planned starring Hulk Hogan.
Oh.
But then this is the one that I really liked. Apparently, a segment was shot with Adam West visiting the Legend's house, but it did not air.
Wow.
Like,
What do you think happened
was
there?
He too crazy or not crazy enough?
I don't know. I wonder if there's a crazy, weird celebrity on every episode of this show.
I bet there is.
I really hope so.
So who do you think is going to be on for the polo one?
I don't think you can top Gary Busey though. Like, how do you top Gary Busey? Adam West, maybe.
Adam West would have been good. Who's like some weird... Who's the British Gary Busey for polo?
The British Gary Busey for polo? Oh, boy.
Me get Mel Gibson in all this.
Mel Gibson is
What
not
if it's
coming
just
on the
everyone
Also,
from
he's
Lethal Weapon?
Australian.
And then they all know all this like, yeah, I was in this movie with Gary Busey and Mel Gibson.
Get Danny Glover. Did you start getting the tertiary actors?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I definitely got spoiled a little bit earlier when I started looking at the IMDb page to see what wrestlers were in this, and then like there's just a bunch. So there are a bunch of people one episode.
Oh, man, okay.
man.
Well,
Don't-
what kind of celebrities are we looking at?
Oh, man.
Harrison's
I'm
want the
not sure if I
spoilers.
want to know. I'm thinking
Yeah, don't-
about. I'm
don't-
thinking
no.
You're
about.
not
okay,
watching the show,
Okay.
Harrison.
Spoil me. Spoil me.
Are you
I
sure?
need to know. Yeah.
All right, so there are a few big names like Shawn Michaels
Okay.
and the Iron Sheik,
Okay.
He's freaking crazy. He does not know he's not a wrestler.
Are you
I've heard
saying
interviews of him, and he's just like, he still thinks he's in wrestling.
maybe
And he's
Gary
like
Busey should have given him some life advice?
Yeah, he's like 100 years old.
And then there's Guy Torrey, Kenny Lane, who's credited as himself dancer.
What?
I hope there's a dance lesson.
Yeah, there's some good names as like the guest stars.
I got to be honest. I don't know who any of those people
Yeah,
are.
me.
Yeah, it seems like a rough slub.
Well, a
I
lot
mean,
of them
Shawn-
are wrestlers.
Yeah,
Shawn
Shawn
Michaels.
Michaels, Iron Sheik.
Iron Sheik is a wrestler.
Okay. No Danny Glover, I guess.
I'm glad it was spoiled for us.
Yeah.
That we don't have to.
Now I
watch.
don't have to watch the rest of the season.
I mean, you should watch the rest of this season just to see if it gets better.
Give us your report back.
I feel like I got at least one more episode in me on this one.
I signed up for this 30-day trial. I'm watching it.
Good call.
Maybe you should watch some of the other reality shows and see if we should watch them.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of content on this network. I don't.
They're all most of it's. There's a prank show.
Oh, is it like Crank Yankers, but they're wrestlers?
No, it's no. It's like what was that
Impracti-
Ashton Kutcher show?
Punked?
It's like Punked, but
Fear
with wrestlers.
Factor.
Oh, so they're punking wrestlers?
Yeah,
Oh,
That's a dangerous game.
yeah. So I saw the trailer. It looked pretty interesting.
Okay.
We're gonna put that on the list.
All right.
Um,
So what do we think? Top third, middle third, bottom third?
You know, I think this is middle third. I think this solidly, is a cut above the rest. Just that blender 5 minutes is good enough for me.
They shot that blender so lovingly,
It's like the annoyances that people got into. Like it's like a slice of life. It's great.
And to be fair, there were none of the weird commercial repeating things in this show.
That's true.
Can listeners tell us if there's just another like senior citizen real world show that we can get into? Because I think we'd really like to hear
Yeah,
about
if
that
we
one.
could get like one that's just better.
Yeah.
like it's close. Like,
I mean,
but it's just not.
This is basically what she wants. This is old people driving golf carts around Palm Springs,
That
trying
was
to
a
figure
great-
out how to use blenders.
That was a great scene when they were driving that golf cart, though.
I'm gonna also say middle third. I think it had some potential, but it also definitely was dragging a bunch. So
Yeah.
It's definitely on the bubble for me. I think it's on that bubble between the top and middle for me. I think.
You can't say the like.
Oh man,
You gotta pick.
I'm gonna go top of my middle. I think. Yeah. I mean because
So you're gonna go with middle.
yeah
Okay.
yeah top
You
of
have
my
middle
middle.
plus.
I'm saying top of my middle.
Just go like middle. You can go
Middle plus.
Yeah.
Mid
Like,
plus.
If you're going middle minus, it's like
Okay.
it's like C plus, C minus.
I got it.
That's how we're putting it.
Okay.
Max.
I'm gonna go middle, but like 40%. So it's only 7 points
That's a
above.
failing grade.
It's only 7 points above, lower third.
So you're middle minus, and
Yes.
he's a middle plus.
Okay.
Yep.
These ratings are getting too complicated, guys. Brian.
I'm easily middle third. Like, yeah, the more we've been talking about this, the more I'm just like, they've drawn out some segments. Granted, they were great segments, but maybe they didn't need so much time with Gary Busey. Maybe the blender scene could have been condensed a little bit.
It couldn't.
No,
It
It
should have
couldn't
been
have been
extended.
condensed.
Why are you talking about cutting the good scene?
Extending the blender scene.
Like,
all we
here's how
want.
they could have maybe gotten the top third. What happened to the damn cabbage rolls?
Dude, this thing's gonna be top third when those cabbage rolls make a comeback in episode 2.
We kind of got to watch episode 2
when
now.
when you see just like they don't even mention it, it's just a guy just taking one out of the fridge and just eating it,
I
and that's
wonder-
all they have.
I wonder if he just like forgot an ingredient and they just didn't cook and they were just bad and they were like,
We can't eat
maybe
this.
just like
There's also other
just
food in the
wasn't-
house.
Yeah, it just wasn't interesting.
You actually didn't know how to use the oven. That they didn't cook.
It didn't seem like when they opened up that pot, there was like a bunch of steam coming out of it, like they were cooking cabbage in it. It just
I've
seemed like
got
they're
no
sitting in
idea.
that pot.
Like there definitely was not like we saw the big thing of just meat and onion, and then we like saw like one shot of like cabbage, And then that was it.
There was
Well, he was rolling the cabbage. He was
it's
putting
like
the
one
meat
shot
inside
of
the
him
cabbage.
rolling that cabbage. Oh,
and then
man.
some pot.
Okay.
And then they ordered pizza. I guess.
Yeah. So like, I feel like our rating system, top third, middle third, and bottom third. I have like one show in the top third.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah. You got a few.
All right. I need our listeners to go back and tell us what our ratings are.
Host so lazy.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you got to offer a reward for the listener that does that.
Oh yeah.
Do we
Yeah, they
need-
get to pick the next show.
Okay. That's a pretty good reward.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
Anyone got anything else to talk about? I think we're pretty much through.
Yeah,
the
I think
show.
I'm kind of done this one.
How many minutes do you think this is?
25 minutes.
That's pretty good. I'm going to say 20 something.
Are you talking about this podcast?
25 minutes, 59 seconds right now.
Oh, I got it.
Pretty
Damn.
good.
This is a pretty. I saw the first 3 episodes of Prison Break.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's way better than 24 Legacy. It's pretty good. It's not like I'm enjoying it. It's not like the best show on TV or anything.
But it's
which is not what
watchable.
I'm expecting.
A high praise.
It's not like if you liked old Prison Break, but I tried to go back and watch that and I couldn't. So this is a nice rehash of I guess the same.
Which season of Prison Break does it compare most to in terms of quality?
Right now I don't like.
Really
I
put
don't
him on the
really
spot with
remember.
that one.
So like season 1, I remember being really good, but then I tried to go back and rewatch season 1, and I thought it was really boring.
Oh, interesting.
And I remember really liking season 3 where they were in Panama,
Season 3 was so bad.
and season 4 was awful. So probably between season 1 and 2, because I think it's pretty good so far.
All right.
There's a lot of conflict. They're like in Yemen. There's a lot of like action happening outside the prison as well, as along with in the prison.
So which characters are in prison?
Michael Schofield is in prison.
He's the only one?
He is the only one.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's other people in prison.
Did he
And
get?
they introduce people that are trying to like come out with it.
Did he get a new tattoo that's going to help him break out of this prison?
He did. They did do this weird tattoo shot in the last episode where it's like he had like some circle on his hand and they like really focused and like zoomed in on it, and then I don't know what was on
So
it.
yes,
Maybe.
sounds like.
I mean, it's not a map or like the first season, so I don't know.
Okay.
But I really do like those 2 actors though.
Yeah, they're
that play
good.
the brothers.
They're good.
They like really elevate that show. Unlike fake Kiefer.
Eric Carter.
Dre.
Max, you wanna?
I don't think I've seen much of anything lately.
Wow.
I watched another episode of If You Are the One.
Oh, tell me
Brian,
about that.
You missed out on a great show for the last episode. You gotta get on this.
Maybe when I actually listen to the podcast.
Okay.
Last
Well,
week.
maybe if somebody posted a podcast.
Hey,
I
it's
did.
posted.
It's up now.
You a bitch.
Well, maybe you'll get a double, cast coming up. Maybe not. Who knows when this will be posted?
Oh yeah.
For our big If You Are the One fans listening, I saw the episode where the guy comes out dressed as a pig. So nuts.
Oh gosh.
Also, he's a huge stalker.
I can't.
Oh, yes.
I can't believe it. I guess you watched it because you wanted Emmy to see the show. Or-
And I wanted to see
Was that show in your top 3?
Oh, it was definitely top third for sure.
No.
Pretty
Oh,
solidly
my
up there
God.
for me.
I downloaded the Daily Motion app just so I can watch the show.
Wow.
That might be too much.
Oh. You're killing me, Rob. You're killing me.
It's just Christopher going. Oh.
Harrison, you got anything?
Couple things. Silicon Valley new season. It's pretty
Oh, yeah?
good.
I watched first 2
Oh.
episodes of
A
that.
couple episodes in. It's pretty good so far. No spoilers, but
Yeah, I didn't watch the
it's,
last episode yet.
definitely strong start to the season. Still working my way through Search Party. I'm going to do another plug for that one this week because it's a pretty good show. Alia Showkott's show on TBS.
I actually have a plug.
Okay.
Potentially or potentially not, season finale of The Challenge tomorrow.
Oh, that's a good plug.
Yeah.
I feel
Depending
like,
on when this podcast gets posted.
I feel like you guys should do a challenge end of the season cast.
Yeah, we'll have to maybe check out that finale and see what happens. Yeah, so tomorrow night, we think so. It's unclear if this is the last episode or the second to last episode of the season, but the final.
That's so funny to me.
It's
I'm trying to picture watching the show. And you're just like, I think it's the last one, but I don't really know.
I think they're making it to the top of this episode, but I'm not sure.
yeah. You just like it's unclear how long the season's gonna run when you start watching that show.
Do
I
more
mean-
do more TV shows do this? Like, what if they had announced how many Game of Thrones episodes are in this new shortened season? They're like,
Yeah.
it's just gonna end one episode.
It's
You
just
don't
gonna-
know.
Yeah, it's just gonna be like next
Nah,
season.
I feel like so many people would be pissed when it ends at like 7.
dude, but like people like every week when they would announce that there was gonna be another one, people like, oh, there's another
Then
one.
you gotta watch the next
Oh
time.
my
on.
God.
You
Yeah.
gotta be like, oh, is there a next time? Is there a next time? And then there
Yeah.
is. And you're just
Yeah,
like,
but you
fist
don't want to
bump.
spoil yourself. I don't like next time. Like,
I know you don't like
some
next
shows I like. Most shows I don't watch it.
I'm a fan of the next time.
Well, clearly, here
Clearly.
we're not. How many 24 next times do we watch? Like
Not that many.
2, 3.
I feel it's weird when we talk about things that are disproved by the next time on. Like Tony.
Yeah, that's rough.
Brian, you got anything?
Nope.
All right. Well, anyone want to plug their Twitter?
Harrison Hoffman on Twitter.
You can follow me on Twitter at the Chris Lorenz. You can follow us on Twitter at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On.
Who put this on at gmail.com?
Yeah.
Email us.
Email us.
Please do.
See you guys next time.